Imagine boarding a car that doesn't just drive, but takes off into the skies above Africa. Rocket for decades, flying cars have been the stuff of science fiction, but today, that future has landed in Rwanda. And the world is watching as President Paul Kagame unveils Africa's first-ever flying car, a bold leap that could change transportation forever. From the land of 1,000 hills to the forefront of futuristic technology, Rwanda has just made history. Kagame's announcement shocked global engineers, investors, and innovators alike, proving that Africa is no longer a follower in the tech race, but a leader charting its own course to the skies. The launch showcased a sleek, self-powered flying car, designed with cutting-edge aerodynamics and clean energy propulsion. Unlike experimental prototypes from the West and Asia, Rwanda's flying car isn't just for show. It's aimed at solving real African challenges, from traffic congestion to rural connectivity. Kagame's vision has always been rooted in technology-driven development. Rwanda already leads in drone-based medical deliveries, digital governance, and now, with this flying car, the nation cements its role as a trailblazer for Africa's future. As the news spread, reactions poured in worldwide. Industry giants in Silicon Valley, China, and Europe were stunned. For years, the narrative has been that advanced tech only comes from the West. But Rwanda just flipped the script, showing that Africa can not only participate, but dominate the next era of mobility. This flying car isn't just about innovation, it's about symbolism. It represents ambition, independence, and a reimagining of Africa's role on the global stage. A continent long overlooked is now building the vehicles of tomorrow, quite literally. Visuals of the flying car lifting off, futuristic Kigali skyline, people cheering. So, what does this mean for Africa's future? Could Rwanda's skies soon be filled with fleets of flying cars, and will the world finally recognize Africa as the new frontier of innovation? One thing is certain, the future is no longer waiting. It's already here, and it just took off from Rwanda. But how did Rwanda pull this off? Behind Kagame's announcement lies a team of African engineers, dreamers, and innovators who dared to imagine the impossible. Working quietly for years, they fused aeronautics, renewable energy, and AI-driven navigation to craft a machine once thought unattainable. This isn't Rwanda's first bold experiment. The nation pioneered medical drone deliveries, saving countless lives in rural areas. That same spirit of problem-solving is now written into the DNA of the flying car. It's not about luxury. It's about accessibility. Rwanda is designing technology that works for Africans first and the world second. The flying car uses a hybrid system, vertical takeoff like a drone, but powered by clean, renewable energy. Engineers say it's designed to travel short to mid-distances, perfect for linking rural towns with bustling cities. Imagine skipping hours of traffic, soaring directly across hills and rivers, the dream of mobility redefined. The world's response? Shock mixed with awe. Analysts in the US called it a wake-up call. In Europe, automakers privately admitted they never saw this coming. And in China, the world's tech factory, investors are already looking at partnerships with Rwanda, fearing they might lose ground in the race to airborne mobility. Kagame isn't just unveiling a flying car, he's laying down a vision. Rwanda aims to become Africa's Silicon Valley, where futuristic transport, AI, and renewable energy converge. By investing in homegrown talent and inviting global partnerships, the nation is proving that the next great wave of innovation doesn't need to come from Silicon Valley or Shenzhen, it can rise from Kigali. But here's the real question. Is this just Rwanda's achievement, or the spark for a continental movement? With Nigeria, Kenya, and South Africa already investing in aerospace, could we be witnessing the dawn of an African aviation revolution? A future where Africa doesn't just buy technology, it creates it. Picture this, a morning in Kigali, 2035. Instead of sitting in gridlock, commuters summon a flying car through an app. Within minutes, it lifts off vertically, soaring above the city's green hills. 10 minutes later, they land safely at work. No traffic, no fumes, just speed, efficiency, and freedom. Glow showing Europe-Africa airplane. In rural Africa, Doctors could reach patients across mountains in record time. Farmers could transport fresh produce to city markets before it spoils. And for young Africans, it's more than just a ride. It's a message. The future isn't somewhere else. It's here, it's theirs, and it's taking flight. But innovation sparks competition. Already, whispers suggest that Western automakers and aerospace giants are preparing their countermoves. Elon Musk's Tesla, China's BYD, and even Airbus are scrambling to prove they still lead the skies. Yet, the shock remains. Africa fired the first shot in the global flying car revolution. Of course, the road, or sky, ahead won't be easy. Questions about air traffic safety, regulations, and affordability still loom large. Can African governments build the infrastructure to support fleets of airborne vehicles? Will ordinary citizens ever be able to afford them, or will they remain futuristic toys for the elite? Kagame insists this is just the beginning, but critics are watching closely. What no one can deny is this: Rwanda has ignited a movement. A single flight that redefines possibility. A bold declaration that Africa is no longer content with catching up, it's ready to lead. And as the flying car disappears into the skies of Kigali, the world is left asking one burning question. What happens when Africa takes the driver's seat of the future? The launch didn't just make headlines, it triggered shockwaves. In boardrooms from Silicon Valley to Shenzhen, executives scrambled emergency meetings. Africa, once seen as a market, had just become the competitor. For the first time, Western and Asian giants were forced to ask, are we already behind? Elon Musk, already locked in battles with BYD and Toyota in the EV market, now faces a new front: Africa's skies. China, the world's factory, sees opportunity and a threat. Europe, with its aerospace legacy, is shocked to find Rwanda setting the pace. Suddenly, the world's most powerful innovators are staring at Kigali, a city they never expected to lead a revolution. Across the continent, Rwanda's move has ignited ambition. Nigeria's aerospace startups are accelerating their prototypes. Kenya, with its Silicon Savannah, is already talking partnerships. South Africa, with decades of aviation experience, wants in. What started as Rwanda's leap may soon become a continental takeoff. But with ambition comes resistance. International regulators warn of chaos in the skies if flying cars spread too fast. Safety, insurance, pilot training, and air traffic control all become urgent questions. Some critics argue Africa is moving too quickly, while others whisper that Western powers may try to slow the movement to protect their dominance. Yet Kagame remains unwavering. At the launch, his message was clear: Africa will no longer wait for permission to innovate. These words weren't just for Rwanda, they were for the entire continent. And they echoed across the world like a thunderclap. A new race has begun. Not for oil, not for land, but for the skies of the future. Will Africa rise as the unexpected leader of airborne mobility? Or will global giants strike back to reclaim control? The battle for the future of flight has just begun. In the United States, the news sent shockwaves through both Silicon Valley and Washington. Defense analysts worried, if Africa could pioneer flying cars powered by clean, self-sustaining energy, what else might it be capable of? Lawmakers whispered about national security, while corporate leaders feared the loss of dominance in a trillion-dollar industry. In Beijing, the response was different. China didn't panic, it strategized. With its manufacturing might, China sees Rwanda's invention as an opportunity. The question wasn't if they could copy it, but how fast. Already, rumors swirl of joint ventures between Rwandan startups and Chinese investors, a possible alliance that could shift global power balances overnight. Meanwhile, Europe, home to Airbus and centuries of aviation expertise, found itself humiliated. How could a small African nation leapfrog giants of engineering? For the EU, Rwanda's flying car isn't just a technological marvel. It's a warning that complacency could cost them the skies. Across Africa, the spark turned into wildfire. From Lagos to Nairobi, engineers and investors rallied to the challenge. the African Union quietly began discussing a new initiative, a Pan-African Sky Mobility Program. Its goal? To make flying cars not a luxury, but a new standard of transportation across the continent. Yet not everyone is convinced. Skeptics argue Rwanda's launch is more symbolism than substance. They warn of sky traffic jams, catastrophic crashes, and fragile infrastructure. But to Africa's dreamers, these doubts sound familiar. After all, they once said the same about mobile banking, drones, and renewable energy until Africa made them work. In a fiery follow-up address, Kagame declared, "We will not be passengers in the future. We will be pilots." His words drew thunderous applause and nervous silence from rivals. It was no longer just about Rwanda. It was about Africa rising to claim its skies. And now, the world watches. With each test flight, each prototype, each bold announcement, the stakes grow higher. Africa is no longer asking for a seat at the table. It's building a new table in the sky. Glow showing Europe-Africa airplane. The question is, who will control the skies of tomorrow, and who will be left behind on the ground? In Washington, urgency turned into action. Lobbyists pressed Congress for new funding into aerospace startups. Elon Musk, caught off guard, teased that Tesla was working on a secret skycar project. Defense agencies explored whether Africa's flying car technology could be adapted for military advantage, or worse, fall into rival hands. China, however, moved with speed. Teams of engineers were quietly dispatched to Kigali under the guise of research partnerships. Beijing's aim was simple: secure alliances before the West could. If Africa had the vision, China had the manufacturing power to flood the skies with fleets of low-cost flying cars. The balance of global trade was suddenly at stake. Europe was torn. Some leaders called for collaboration with Rwanda, others demanded strict controls. Airbus launched an accelerated flying car project of its own, but insiders admitted privately they were years behind. For the first time in history, Europe faced the prospect of buying technology from Africa. But the most dramatic shift was happening inside Africa. What started as Rwanda's triumph was spreading. Nigeria's aviation hubs, Kenya's tech corridors, and South Africa's aerospace labs all pledged to contribute. Talk of a united African flying car industry gained momentum, a vision of collaboration that could rival even the world's biggest powers. Yet behind the scenes, another battle was unfolding, a shadow war of patents, espionage, and sabotage. Reports surfaced of cyber attacks targeting Rwanda's aviation servers. Rumors spread of offers to buy out African inventors for billions, to bury their patents in foreign vaults. The fight for the skies was no longer just about innovation, it was about survival. The world is at a crossroads. Africa's flying car has opened a new frontier, one that promises freedom, prosperity, and leadership, but also rivalry, sabotage, and chaos. Every nation knows, whoever wins this race won't just shape the future of transportation, they will own the skies. And as Rwanda's prototype climbs higher with each flight, so do the stakes for the entire world. Ziautotech, where innovation meets the road. The future of mobility starts here, only on Ziautotech. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more fascinating stories about Elon Musk, Maxwell, Tesla, and the future of innovation. Until next time, keep imagining the impossible